And I don't care what you say, even if a woman would have had sex with a 13-year-old boy, unless he was gay, that little motherfucker liked it.
That's tough. Girls are like 15, 16-year-olds now. Not giving them any credit of what 13 was not even when you were.
Relationships.
When I see a headline in the media that says, teacher arrested for having a sexual relationship with a student, that's not possible, right? We know legally that a teacher is not legally allowed to have a sexual relationship with a student. And so when the media puts out something that says that there was a relationship, it actually teaches our community the opposite of what is true. Children cannot consent to have sex, right? We know that it's our job to protect children from having sex, from adults having sex with them, because it's not healthy, it's rape. But unfortunately, because we reinforce a rape culture that tells the community that, we can't believe survivors, communities want those details, right? Because now suddenly it's in the community's hands to make the judgment of whether it happened or not, which in fact that is not what a community is supposed to do. My name is Tajmika Torak. I'm 36 years old and I'm from Lansing, Michigan. I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse and incest. My father was my perpetrator between the ages of 6 and 8. The Firecracker Foundation is a nonprofit organization that provides free, high-quality, holistic healing services for children who have experienced sexual trauma and their families. The way we do that is we provide mental health therapy, we provide trauma-sensitive yoga, caretaker support groups, and crisis intervention. What I've really grown into in the past 2 years since I started the organization is really that this organization is not really about me. The whole idea of having a holistic program is also really a survivor-led program. So whereas you could have a child who's experienced sexual abuse go to therapy and have that be the only thing that they do to facilitate their healing. But what we try to do is provide healing that can be incorporated for their body, for their mind, and for their entire family. This year we've helped somewhere around 55 people directly. And so we have supported like 27 families, and so that means like 22 children have come in for crisis intervention services. When you have a child, any child really, that is victimized during really important developmental stages, it interrupts a lot of the things that they're supposed to be learning and processing that's a natural part of being a kid. But when a kid is not allowed to just be a child, when they're forced to also focus on survival, it disrupts a child's natural ability to develop. And so all of those things come with symptoms, whether they be PTSD or anxiety or eating disorders or addiction. And if children don't know that they have symptoms, then what they naturally do is they internalize these things as failings on their own part. We talk a lot about going into the trenches here. And when you have children who have experienced really some of the worst things you've ever heard, and you know that they are going to need a lot of help to get out of the trenches, I think a lot about going in and out of the trenches, and we do that a lot here. So we go in and we pull people out, and then sometimes we have to go back multiple times. That's the gift of healing, right? I mean, that's the gift of being a healthy person, is being able to have the strength and wherewithal and the resources to be able to keep going back. I had a teenage client come in one day who brought with them a card that she had written for me, and it just said, that she wouldn't have been able to make it through this process without me. And I remember being able to say to her, I created this for you. Like I said before, this has nothing to do with me, but I'm constantly thinking about how this can serve the kids that we work with, and to know that she valued it that much, and to be able to say to her, this is for you. All of this that I have made is for you and people like you is really powerful. We have a system that has more protection on the rights of perpetrators than it does over the rights of victims. It's really challenging to navigate that system and to get a system to acknowledge that children don't lie. We know statistically that children don't make up sexual abuse. So if our teachers can't hear this appropriately, if our police officers can't hear and respond appropriately, if our pastors and our laymen cannot hear this appropriately, then they are failing our children. And their roles are too important in our community to fail children when children are brave enough to speak up. I realize more and more every day how difficult it is for people to have these conversations. But having said that, we're having these conversations all the time, all over the place. And we're seeing that being open and asking adults who are survivors to talk more openly about their stories is really encouraging the next generation to understand that we can have these conversations. I think that everyone should be passionate about child sexual abuse because it impacts so many people. And I think that it's something that if we don't become passionate about ending it and about speaking about it, I think that it gives an opportunity for perpetrators to hide. I don't think there's anything that a perpetrator wants more than for victims to be silenced. They are all our children. That's what I tell people. They are all our children. And so when we're able to listen with empathy and really be understanding about other people's experiences, it really does change the way that the community reacts and responds.